The way you can go isn't the real way. The name you can say isn't the real name. Heaven and earth begin in the unnamed. Names the mother of the 10,000 things. So, the unwanting soul sees what's hidden, and the ever-wanting soul sees only what it wants. Two things, one origin, but different in name, whose identity is a mystery. Mystery of all mysteries, the door to the hidden. It deserves repeating. So, the unwanting soul sees what's hidden, and the ever-wanting soul sees only what it wants. The ever-wanting soul sees only what it wants. You are enough. You have enough. I don't mean in a way that you have enough money to pay all of the bills or all of the arbitrary things. I don't mean that you have enough money to shower your children with the gifts that you didn't have and the shortcomings that couldn't be. I don't mean that money isn't tight to pay the car insurance while also juggling everything else. I don't mean that you have an abundance in a way that allows you to not worry about your car breaking down or the emergency something breaking on the house. I mean something deeper than that you are enough and you have enough. When you come to learn and realize that, everything else falls into place. Those worries that were mentioned, they melt away. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm working on it and I'm getting close, and I can feel that melt happen as it does. Today, I sit down with Mike. We had some technical difficulties, so his video drops out around 7 minutes, but his audio is there. I'm sorry if that upsets or offends anybody. That also means that this episode came out without any clips because I don't want to do a minute of black screen speaking. So I hope this finds its audience. Audio works great. Mike gave wonderful sound advice. He is an amazing practitioner of the arts and a voice to continue being a student, which is something that we all need. We need to hear. We need to hear it again. The ever-wanting soul sees only what it wants. And in seeing what it wants, it misses out on everything that could be. My wanting soul wants the video to not fuck up. My accepting soul realizes that the audio is still good and the message is still there. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you get something out of it. And like always, guys, keep kicking.
Keep kicking, never quit. Focus sharp like a blade that's hitting. From white belt dreams to the master flow, Paul Coffey's got the mic, now the stories grow. Technique entails discipline and fire. Each guest brings truth to inspire. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise. It's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Old school, new school, all styles blend. From the mat to the mic, where the arts ascend. Philosophy deep, but the vibe stays tight. Martial minds meeting in the podcast light. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise. It's a journey through a warrior's eyes. coffee leads, and the journey begins. Technique entails discipline and fire. Each guest brings truth to inspire. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise. It's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Keep kicking, keep kicking. Paul Coffee leads and the journey begins.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Keep Kicking, the martial arts podcast, where I have martial conversations with my martial arts friends. And today I sit down with Mike. Mike, would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Michael Fugate, founder and innovator of Golden Leopard Dojo.
Very cool. Mike, tell me how you got started in martial arts.
Well, my dad trained in Okinawa when he was in the Navy, and he came back and started training me when I was about 4.5. And ever since then, I've been training and teaching, and I opened my first karate school in San Diego in 1975, the San Diego School of Martial Defense, and it's changed over the years, a few different names, but we went to be the Golden Leopard Dojo in, I think it was 1990.
That's awesome. What made you get to writing your own style and coming up with that?
I think it was because I trained with so many different really great teachers, and I took a piece of each one of them. I took I took the same philosophy that all of my other predecessors who invented their own styles did. Ed Parker, Bruce Lee, Danny and Santo. They all had their foundations, and they moved on from there and added every little thing aspect of different martial arts that they liked to their style, and I thought that was a good thing for me to do too. And also, it gave me the ability to customize my forms for people. And sometimes people can't do some of the things that are in the traditional forms, so I devised a few unorthodox forms, and it helps my students greatly.
Sure, yeah, I like that. I ask a couple of questions that are the same in every podcast, and I ask a couple of, we just kind of flow with it. But the first question after we get going that I want to ask usually is, what do you think the average martial arts student neglects in their own personal practice?
Their glaring weaknesses. They know what their weaknesses are, but they don't try to make them strengths. And they also they rely on their past training when they need their daily training. All the old masters were always punch, punch, kick, kick every day, and if you don't, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. That's the philosophy I would believe.
I love that, man. We haven't had anybody. We've had somebody say that they neglect training before, but we haven't had anybody say the other. And I think that that's important because, like, as martial artists, lifelong practitioners, we pick those weaknesses and work on making them a strength, and that creates a perpetual learning experience where we're always improving something. But for some people, for some of my students, I have dealt with a hurdle where they say that it's difficult for them because admitting fault, it takes somebody of strong character to do that. So, do you find that there are tools or coachings that you can give your students to be strong within recognizing a weakness?
That's a giant question. It's a good question though, but it's multi-layered. And what I would say
It
is,
is. It's huge.
when
It's
when,
huge.
when students go about the betterment of themselves, they often neglect the glaring weaknesses, is what I said. And their glaring
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses is that they're not gaining strength and speed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're not continuing to think that everybody around them is
Mm-hmm.
better than them. And I came from a background as I was attacked by a dog when I was very young. I was 7 years old. I was attacked, and it was eating me in the street. And some good Samaritan scared the dog away, which I couldn't have believed because it had killed the bull before it attacked me. And I went to the hospital. I was in there
Whoa.
for over almost a year, and off and on with rehab and everything for my leg because it really ripped. It just barely missed my femoral artery. And then after I got well from that, where I had been through the rehab and get everything, I went out and my parents put me in the backyard to go play, and I fell over top of a hurricane fence, the kind with the crossed tips, and I stuck that in my leg right by my crotch, slipped upside down, and it went all the way up underneath my knee, and I almost bled out on the fence, and they
My
took me to the hospital again. It's the same doctors. They
God.
were crying when they brought me in because I had just went through that year of rehab. So they sewed me up again, and then I got started to get healing from that. And because my body had done so much healing to my legs, it didn't go fast, even though I was very young. And my parents set me out in the front yard with a little bit of the stitches still in my leg, but they wanted to get me some sun. We lived in Florida, and the neighborhood kids pulled by. A couple of them were on bicycles, some of them were walking, and they came over and walked over and started jumping up and down on my leg. And I lay there bleeding out, and they took me back to the hospital and saved my life. So I've had a lot of time in the hospital, and my
Yeah.
rehab was so immense that it kind of got me addicted. And I did my workout in my legs and my kicking and a lot of stuff in the pool because my body couldn't handle the weight right then. And I managed to get, both times they told me I'd never walk again. And here I am walking and kicking and punching, and I'm just grateful. But it seemed an insurmountable a challenge to get back to doing anything at all, let alone little league, play basketball, do whatever. It was horrible, and there I was. If I stuck my tongue out and stand sideways, I looked like a zipper. I was so skinny. I couldn't gain any weight. The constantly
Whoa.
healing, and
Yeah.
it was just always. I was always trying to just get what I would think was my own strength back. But then after I had trained so long and do my
Right.
kicks and stuff,
Right.
and I was kicking, 80 some miles an hour. I was moving fast, and I was innovating forms that allowed me to heal myself, and I was changing things that allowed me to teach older people, and I was doing things that made me kind of put a chip on my shoulder, like, I'm not going to let this guy out train me. That's just ridiculous. I can train harder. There's a rule for every known, there's 12 unknowns. So right away when you get to thinking you're somebody, there's 12 cats that nobody knows will whip your ass. So you have to get out there and train like your life's going to depend on it when you're walking to your car. And if you don't, then you better start running. And I make my students run a lot. So either there's two things, right? Fight or flight. So if you can't fight, you better turn
Right.
your rectum around and run. Run as fast as you can. So our black belt test has a 5.2 mile run at the start of it, straight up uh, Cow's Mountain over here, or not Cow's Mountain, Mission Trails. So if you can't fight, you better run.
Right. Wow, you just hit me with a lot there. There's a lot there. First of all, congratulations on making it out. Second thing is you said you were training in a pool. Where
Yeah.
did you come up with that idea on your own? Did your dad tell you? Yes.
No, believe
That
it or
is
not,
profound at such a young age.
the Ishinru patch is halfway the guy's in the water. And the story of the Ishinru patch is that
Mm-hmm.
the Grandmaster Shimabuka was in town, and he saw uh, the fountain, and he went to go sleep by a fountain, and a bunch of bad guys came around him, and they surrounded him with a circle of fire, and they lit that fire themselves, and they told him, "Sensei, fight with us." And he said, "No, I don't want to fight with you." So, like I said, they lit the fire around him and told him, "Hey, you're going to fight with us." So he reached in the well and pulled out the water and put the fire out. He threw water on the fire, and hence they developed the patch for Ishinru. They put the top of the person on the patch in water, and that intrigued me. And I thought that's where the water should be coming, And the kicking in the water is the best thing because the resistance is perfect. It allows you to balance a lot better, so you can learn how your balance is supposed to be. And if you're off balance, it really shows you. And when you develop the strength there, it's not the strength
No,
that would put
absolutely.
it's not the strength that would put too much muscle on your body. Now they have videos going around of some
Mm-hmm.
guy going into the gymnasium, and he's skinny looking and he's got his mop and he's going in there and power lifters are lifting and he's out lifting more than them and he's slender. Well, the Marines, they tell you we're looking for lean and mean, and that's what you're supposed to be if you're going to be a good martial
Mm-hmm.
artist. Lean and mean. If you can put muscle on without putting weight on, that's different. Your muscles can handle that weight. Your muscles can do it. That's why the
Mm-hmm.
best gymnasium is your body.
Absolutely. Man, uh that experience of you rehabbing yourself um through the pool and all of that, how has that influenced your teaching? Because it would seem to me like that type of experience would help an instructor or an individual teach somebody that has MS or somebody that has Parkinson's, where their body and their mind disconnect and they can't function physically, or like that has to help you teach.
It does. And what the lesson of teaching is, I take my students through the same journey that I went through. Otherwise, how can I claim experience with that journey? So I teach them only the way I was taught and the way I taught
Mm-hmm.
myself. So what I do is I take them and I make them do the water training. And
Mm-hmm.
I make them do fighting against 5 and 6 people at a time. And I make them do exercise to where they challenge themselves. And I make them realize that there is no shortcut. The only shortcut is to failure. And as soon as you recognize that you're trying to take a shortcut, you need to go back and start over. And if you start back over, it's best to start the way you learned originally. Go back into that pool. Go back into those kicks and punches, challenging your stances, challenging your explosion. If you can't go boom, and what I teach an art of traps. Everything is a trap. I get you to turn your hip. Okay, that got me so I could hit you in your head. I get you to pick your knee up. Oh, that can break your other leg. I get you to I lead you to do where I can hit you where it hurts hard. And I don't try to throw a million punches that hit you in your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your way you'd play a video game. Why would I play for real like that? I want to hit you once and I freaking want it to hurt. I want to use Tiashawari. I want to explode you when I hit. So when I hit, I want it to come from a position of balance, and I want it to result in extreme power going to that target. And the only way I can get that is continuity through
Mm-hmm.
motion that's direct. A straight line is faster than a circle. A circle is different than a straight line. I retract in a
Mm-hmm.
circle, I fire in a straight line. My circle that I retract in allows me to use the extremities of my body to pull my opponent. Everything I get them to do is an autokinetic reaction. If I put my hand up and they lift their head up 1 inch, good, I kick their shin. You know what? Everything is a trap. And the minute you start doing that, you can hit with more power, more precision, and
Mm-hmm.
you won't have a punch where you're selling the farm to hit some black belt on the hip. Give me a freaking break. If somebody hits me on my chest, I go like this. I flick it off like it's a freaking a gnat or something. They're never going to hurt me hitting me there. And I never let my students get away with thinking they can do that. You better hit them where it hurts. You better study
Mm-hmm.
your pressure points. You better learn a little bit of Tai Chi so that you can explode and have great balance. And you better move from stance to stance with power. And you don't pause so much. I see traditional. I teach unorthodox. When you see a traditionalist do something, he goes from 4 moves, bam, stop.
Mm-hmm.
4 moves, flat, stop. My students, sometimes they're doing 1,700 moves nonstop. There's no stopping. Give me a break. Don't get me wrong. We have
Mm-hmm.
forms where Sunshin and Sanchan and Mushin and that go like that, stop like that. But I want the 10,000 bees attacking. I want the eagle. I want the snake. I want the explosion of the leopard and the crane. I want those things. And that's the only way to get them is to keep pounding those in, because otherwise you just settle back into you and you can never be the spirit of those other animals. You can't be the crane. You can't be the mantis. You can't be, see what I mean? You have to stay in those. Otherwise, how can you so
I
quickly change shirts? You have to change shirts like that, right? What is the 10 animal kung fu?
mm-hmm.
You got to be able to change shirts. Like I tell students, here, I know I'm going on, but I'm going to say, what does a cat do? A cat scratches. What does a dog do? A dog bites. What does see what I'm trying to go with this? You know what you're fighting when you see the person's
Absolutely.
style. You see it right away. Oh, that guy's going to try to kick me. Good. I'm going to kick him in the groin till my foot gets tired. So keep thinking like that and keep thinking about those traps, because those traps reveal the traps you put yourself in. And you start seeing them from the different angle. You start seeing, whoa, when I lean
Absolutely.
forward, that's where I would blast this guy. So why would I want to let him do that to me? Why would I? And I still teach all those
Absolutely.
weapons takeaways. Like, if that person has a weapon, my students are all like the same like me. Thank God he brought me a weapon. I'm going to take it from them so fast, they're going to wish they would have never brought it.
Right. Okay, so one of the things that I do is I lift the veil. Michael, we have been trying to do this podcast for months, and your Facebook presence, the way you represent yourself and the way that you just little clips that you give of your art was enough to make me want to have this conversation. And it makes it worth rescheduling and worrying about whatever minutia and arbitrary uh, technical issues that we were having earlier is absolutely worth it. It's worth its weight in gold for these conversations. One of the reasons that I did this podcast was because there are gentlemen like you that exist, and thoughts are not maintained for posterity. Like my first instructor is a great example. He's no longer with us. His name was also Michael, and I had the idea to have this podcast, and then I was thinking about guests to have on, and he was like number 3 that I thought of. And it was it is a shame that the perspectives are not captured in a way. So I hope you've written a martial arts book. I hope that your perspectives have gotten out there, and I'll thank you again at the end of this, but I'm thanking you right now for taking the time to get on here and have this conversation, because everything that you just said was gold and extremely valuable to students, whether they be students like myself that have been a student for 32 years, or they are students that are not even started yet. It's a wealth of knowledge, and it is worth its weight in gold. Thank you. So now the next question: why teach?
There is such a joy with becoming a student all over again, because every student is my teacher. And every single time I start that journey over again, I tell the student at the beginning, hey, we're going through this journey together. And you are my teacher, because I have to learn how to communicate with you. And that brings up to the autism and the different spectrums of people that I've had to teach. and enjoyed each moment of those. I've taught people with cerebral palsy, people in wheelchairs, soldiers who've lost limbs. I've taught to very healthy people, and each
Mm.
person has a different way they look at everything, and that's the kaleidoscope of our life, is being able to see that person and see where they're at in the journey and try to bring them to where you are. And I remember I got one of my my first black belt female student. I brought her over to come see one of my new black belt candidates, and he went through the one of the forms,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like 1,400 moves and something, and he was like 3/4 of the way through it, and she leaned over and she said, "He looks
Mm-hmm.
like you," and I almost cried, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to pass down an art
Mm.
that comes from before
Mm-hmm.
me, and it'll live long after me. And the only way to carry on that art is to teach every single thing of the art. Because imagine you live your whole life and not learn how to drive a car. Imagine you live your whole life
Right.
and never got to hear music. And imagine you live your whole life and never got to
Mm.
walk where you were a little afraid. And show courage. You got to show yourself. The best discipline is self-discipline. If you can learn how to be that, then you can
Mm-hmm.
teach that to a student. Oh my God, my students, almost all of them are straight A students. And why? Because we engage the left and the right side of the brain, get the logical and creative going at the same time, and we challenge them with physical and mental challenges as they're going through their test. I know I'm kind of crazy, but I'm asking them why they're doing push-ups with 25 and 8, was 33 and 6. I'm hitting them with little math questions. I'm getting them
Ooh.
to go to different areas of their brain. I'm standing on their thighs and I'm standing behind them. Okay, what's 28 and 4? I'm pounding them because I want them to think in a fight. And if I can get them to carry on what I'm doing, golly, that's a legacy right there. Give it to them. Let them decide
Absolutely.
how to share it.
Absolutely. Oh. Okay. So, another thing that I do in this podcast is I extend whatever I'm working on at the time to my guests. And the idea for doing it is selfish. It's so I can talk through and workshop with a fellow martial artist the things that I am currently working on. Because, like we said earlier, I have taken a personal approach to my martial art that I'm never to the end of the journey. I've always got to figure something else out, work on another piece of the puzzle, add stuff to it. So, this question starts with the omission. As a successful lifelong martial arts practitioner, I recognize that I am equal parts sadistic and masochistic. I am both able to take pain and able to give pain in a way that not everybody is. So I realize that about myself. As the instructor, I am teaching people that are not always those things. So the question is, Michael, how do you teach a non-violent person to speak the language of violence?
I think that the language of violence is physical contact. And they don't need to shout, they don't need to scream, they need to react. And I need to make my students, the thing that you're leaving out there, you're talking about how you could give out pain and how you could take pain. And there's a saying, it doesn't matter how much pain you can dish out, it's how much you can take. And I want you to rather think, how slippery can I be? How impossible can I be to hit? I don't even want a mosquito to land on you. I want you to be so slippery, so quick, so fast that they can't touch you, that you do it instinctively, automatically, that you move away from any contact, that you don't decide to take a punch. You decide to make that punch go into emptiness. The way you're supposed to be taught, according to the Tai Chi trees, is you're supposed to deflect, lead, relax, and strike. You deflect the thing that's coming at you, you lead it into emptiness, and then you relax and you explode. And if you're doing all those things, then you're teaching a person of nonviolence how to explode, because the first thing they're doing is defending. And to see that there's a little wrongness in the way they're saying that too. Deflect. I don't want to touch you to deflect you. I just want to make it so you're so damn frustrated trying to hit me that maybe you've thrown 2 or 3 things and now you're doing like the story of the 5 rings. You're becoming a man of rage and I'm becoming more calm. And you came over here waiting for me and I made you wait for an hour and a half and I carved a boken on the way over to this battle. And I beat you to death with a non-sharp sword. I beat you to death with a boken. I want to be impossible to hit. That's what you should be, sir. Start training to do that. Put a ball, tennis ball in front of you and push it out. Keep dodging, ducking, and diving it. Put somebody in front of you with a live weapon and move and dodge and duck and teach yourself to do that so that it becomes a habit. And do your break falls because you're going to fall. Do your break falls and spring up. If you can do those things right there, then you're starting on a better journey than you were thinking about. Hell yeah, you can take a punch. Freaking take it till you're dead. Stop it. Start not taking punches. Start being slippery. Start being like a 4th degree black belt fighting a 10-year-old. Make it impossible for them to hit you. And the whole time you're doing it, gather strength from them. The way you gather strength from them is every time they start coming towards you, you move out of the way, but you wave your hand in front of them and pull that to your belly. Wave your hand in front of them, pull to your belly. And the more that they go to emptiness, the more they'll give you. Think like that, sir. Raise your level of training to they can't put a finger on you.
I don't want to say that that was the best answer that I have gotten to that question because I don't want to discredit the other masters that have come on this podcast before you and answered that question. I will say that your answer meant more to me and has helped me connect more dots than any of the other masters with their answer. And you connected another thing that I'm working on currently, and you have connected philosophies that I have read at ad nauseum over the course of 32 years of training. Thank you for that. That's amazing. That's wonderful. We're going to pivot, but also kind of stay in the same capacity.
Can I
and I want to
interject one
start
more
with a
thing?
small question. Have you ever studied?
Can I say
Yes,
one more
absolutely.
thing? Okay, there's a thing in the Tai Chi trees,
Yes.
and it's called still water, calm pool. Starts out with tigers roaring, monkeys screeching, stone shine on West Mountain, still water, calm pool. And if you can do that then in the middle of the fight and be calm, then you can be invisible. That's what you want to be, brother. You want to be
Yes.
damn near invisible.
Yes.
And when you do become visible, you're smoke. So ever what they swing, you never got a hold of you. And I'm done. I just wanted to integrate. I just want to make sure I did give the tidbit from the Tai Chi trees, which is that stone shine on West Mountain, still water, calm pool, tigers roaring, monkeys screeching. You got to be able to just focus everything in that, and then that way you can relax. If the minute you become unfocused,
no, absolutely,
you can't. Yes, I'm done with that answer, sir. Go ahead.
That no. That also that pulls from the poem that Bruce Lee chose for the start of the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, where he says even a tiger can find room to pierce through the armor of the dragon. You know, and that it's not about it's not about the complex techniques. It's not about doing whatever. It's just about being as simple and ready to do the thing that you are trained to do in the most sure capacity. Boom. Oh my God, I love that answer. Okay, so the lead-in question is: have you ever had any practice or experience with Systema? and no is okay because we could still have this conversation even without it.
I don't understand the question. What is systema?
Systema is a Russian martial art. It's Russian based.
No, but I have trained with the Special Forces and
Okay.
SEAL Team 5 and 6, and I've taught a lot of Rangers and stuff like that. And
Awesome.
I've trained with a lot of different people like that. And that their job is to go out into the night and defend our country or to stop bad guys. And the thing is what you learn from training and working with them is they don't got time for fancy flowery blocks. They don't got time for willow techniques. They don't got time for, they've got to go through their target and kill it. And when you start thinking as a killer and not a warrior. Now, there's a difference between being a warrior. A warrior, okay, you go out into the arena,
Absolutely.
you make the battle last for 20 minutes. You wrestled in front of people, you boxed, you did MMA. It's a lot different than when that dude's in front of you with a gun or a knife and you have to kill them or you're going to not make it home.
Absolutely.
And I asked one of my Navy SEAL students, I said, what was the scariest thing you ever did? He goes, we were going through cave clearing. And I was going through there, and it was kind of dark, and a guy jumped around the corner with a big knife, and we were only wearing our soft hat, and he hit me right in the skull with a freaking knife, and I shot him in the face with my gun. He goes, I've still got little nightmares about that right there, and that as a picture in your mind, you can see, okay, there's a time when you can use brother-in-law karate. Where you're at a party and some dudes, oh, I know you do karate, show me something. Okay, here. You really don't want me to, but if you insist, I'll show you something. And then you tell them, okay, put your hand on my chest, and you step back and you put an eagle beak right underneath their friggin' ribs underneath their arm, and you look at them and go, okay, there you go, that's karate. And then they'll say, well, no, well, show me some karate. And you tell them, you know what? Show up at the dojo, bring your shorts and maybe a sweatpants and shit, and we'll throw you around for a little while. But, you can't play when it's for real. Like you can't think, okay, I'm going to do like point sparring. I'm going to block this guy. I'm going to put a loud reverse punch in his stomach. I'm a Kia, and I'm going to hold my hand up in the air and run by him. There's none of that junk. I got a good punch that gives me a good lead to cut his throat. There's a good thing I can step him to the ground right now and shoot his head. You're thinking in a whole different pattern. When you play a game of chess, that's for fun. When you play a game of death, you can't play like that. It's got to be 100%. I'm going home. Like Clint Eastwood said in Outlaw Josie Wales,
Absolutely.
It's time to get plumb mean.
Excellent. Okay, so in Systema, they have changed their they have changed the vernacular within the technique and within the system. So they don't say things like relax. You don't want a student to relax. And if you think about like the fundamentals of standing up as a human, well, if you relaxed every bone in the body, you just fall down to the ground. So there is some sort of tension that has to exist while we walk around. So instead of saying relax, they say free to move. Maintain freedom so that you can maintain movement. I like that. I've been adopting that. I've also been adopting like just the fundamental idea of how they move. Instead of a yield that exists where like if I'm here and I do this block and I yield. As I yield, I have locked this side of my body up. This side is now occupied with this block and this yield, and so I now only have my other side, and I can use my other side, but I have to then move around, navigate the situation that I've created in order to get back to square, right? And so what they do is they yield in a way they regress in a way that they never come off of that line. They don't get hit, they don't take damage, but they still don't bind themselves up. And it seems extremely similar to what you're talking about. Be like smoke and not even be there, and be to where you can't get hit, so that they're frustrated, the opponent's frustrated. I love that. I'm working on that I've always worked on that as a martial artist, but that is like my primary focus in my own personal growth as an artist. And I'm asking you, how do you teach that? What techniques do you use to reinforce that? What are you doing to instill that into your students?
Well, we do a multifaceted application to that right there. First, we're doing where we're going back and
Mm-hmm.
forth doing the techniques to each other. That's where you learn the pacing and timing as you're learning that right there. Now, the next
Absolutely.
thing we're doing is we're doing that pool workout where we're learning how, as we move, if we turn our body in different ways, then our body is able to move quicker through the water.
Mm-hmm.
And if it can move quicker through the water, then
Mm-hmm.
you're moving quicker on the ground too. And then the next thing you're learning
Absolutely.
after you get out of that right there is you're learning to
Mm-hmm.
take whatever motion you use as a block, make it destructive, but make it non-stopping. When I train with the Babao stick fighting family, and they had the world champion there for a couple of years, and I would go over
Mm-hmm.
there and beat them every time, twice on Sunday. And the reason I would is because I never stopped. I never stopped moving my sticks. And objects in motion tend
Mm-hmm.
to stay in motion. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. So what I'm doing is I'm moving every time. So like if I was to climb up a mountain, I would have to keep all four of my body parts moving at the same time to keep climbing up there, or using each one differently foundationally to hold me in place. So when I'm fighting, I'm thinking, okay, when I move, I should be as a string of pearls. As I pull that pearl, then all the pearl moves. So my whole body moves when I'm moving. So when I finally hit that extremity on, like you did with your
Mm-hmm.
hand up in the air, now I twist my hand over and butterfly it down to my elbow
Mm-hmm.
height, and my body explodes around the corner. I do push hands. That's the next thing I would tell you to do. I'm the San Diego Push Hands Academy. So what we do is we do Tai Chi, which is the same, man, and we're doing the push hand applications of Tai Chi. And if you do the Tai Chi and incorporate push
Mm-hmm.
hands with that, then as somebody starts to push you, you let them into emptiness. Somebody tries to pull you, you push them off balance. Every step is a point. And as you start doing the push hands, you start feeling energy, and you start realizing you got to hide your energy, and you've got to bring your energy to a point like a lightning bolt. Is the minute you can become like lightning
Mm-hmm.
inside. I'm not talking about, outside for Tiashawari for breaking. I'm talking about inside. Can you coil that lightning bolt right there,
Mm-hmm.
just above your heart, like a quarter, and explode it out of your arm, any which way you want to go? If it's an elbow, if it's a side elbow, if it's a over the top elbow with a blade edge strike at the end of it, all those things. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop because I don't want you grabbing my hand. I don't mind you grab it. I'm gonna knock the tar out of you, but I don't want that. I don't want you getting any intention by you touching me or anything where I'm going, what I'm doing. I'm just setting you up, getting you go to another trap. Everything is a trap. Start thinking like that, and then you'll be able to hit whatever you're trying to hit
Mm-hmm.
harder. And start thinking like I'm gonna be slippery until I can stab this guy with a
Mm-hmm.
spear. You're not stabbing them with a little blade because that would what? It would make you stick your arm out too far. But if you
Mm-hmm.
could stick them with a spear, look at how close you keep your elbow to your chest still.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say. If you strike with it, like if you had a knife and your elbow stays
Mm-hmm.
close to your chest, look at that punch. My elbow's not even moving past my body, but like an inch. So inch and a half. And if I start thinking like that, then I can start manifesting power like a lightning bolt because I've already got the lightning hanging in me. And I start moving. The instant I see my opponent move, I'm starting to take advantage of his movement because, like they say in the trees again, in a beginner's mind, the possibilities are endless. In an expert's mind, the possibilities are few. In other words, as soon as I see you step,
Mm-hmm.
I know where your knee's at. I never lost track of it. I don't have to stare at it. I don't have to worry about it. I know where it goes when I kick it. I know where the groin is at. I know how to kick them straight in the hip socket so I knock them on their keister. I know how. That's what you got to start thinking. What am I doing? You have so many tools. You have so many tools. Imagine yourself like a fighter plane. The fighter plane doesn't just have what? Machine guns. It has missiles. It has bombs. It has the things that keep the
Mm-hmm.
target from the missiles hitting it, right? It has all those little things popping out, flares or whatever.
Right.
So if you start thinking like
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
I'm a my foot is a bomb. I tell my students, no Mexican ever misses a soccer ball on
That's
the
right.
ground.
Right. Oh man. Anybody that's listening to this is gold. Digest it, listen to it again. I promise you, this is a great wealth of knowledge. What advice would you give to any student who has not started martial arts yet, but they're thinking about it, that's watching this?
I would say that if you want to improve your body, both mentally and physically, and help to give yourself long life, help yourself to take away fear. That's the biggest life killer is fear. I don't want to go over there. I'm intimidated. I'm worried about those guys. I'm not saying be bereft of common sense. I'm not saying that. I'm saying train yourself so that you don't have fear,
Mm-hmm.
fear of failure, so that you know that you didn't let yourself down, that you know that you've got a chance to live this life. And the chance that you have is the betterment of yourself. You have one temple. If you fill it up with garbage, you're going to have garbage in your temple. If you take your temple and treat it with respect, as you would have somebody to
Mm-hmm.
treat you, treat yourself as you would demand others treat you. Start thinking about, am I really eating this? And why? I'm never gonna get rid
Mm-hmm.
of this. And is this making my body jittery or this or that? Or what
Mm-hmm.
am I doing this for? There's another saying that I make my students remember. The moon has no intent to cast its shadow anywhere, nor did the lake design to lodge the moon. It just happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fight that. So don't fight the storm. Enjoy the
Mm-hmm.
rain. Don't fight the storm. Enjoy the blessing that it is in your life. If you go through that where you're thinking about this storm is coming, and I know it, and if I'm confident enough, I won't get in the fight, because the one who starts the fight first is the one who's afraid. And if you're not afraid, you won't make that first foolish
Mm-hmm.
mistake. Oh, I've got to hit him now or I'm going to get beat up. No, dude, shut your mouth, focus, and relax. You'll be all right. Don't be so worried. You know what fighting is like. You do that in the dojo. I make them fight right there. I read it at the end of every class. We put our hands in like
Mm-hmm.
in a football huddle, and we go, we fight together. We train together. We grow together. Ow! We do that. And that's the truth. Fight together. You get out there and fight, and you make each other around you better. The better your dojo is, the better the competition you have in your own dojo. You shouldn't have to leave your own school to go find competition. If you do that, you don't need to go to every
That's
tournament and waste
right.
$40 to go get in there for 25 seconds and get 4 points scored on you quicker and you could say spit. Live your life like you're victorious. You're victorious. I've already won. Walk around like that. Don't walk around friggin' ne'er-do-well, trying to brag about how despondent and
Mm.
hurt you are. How about you brag on waking up and training? I did a good session this morning. That's all you need to say. You don't need to say, I lifted 45 pounds 33 times. Shut the hell up. Did you train hard? Yes. Did you work on any of your weaknesses? Yes. Okay, are you slippery? Can I hit you?
Mm-hmm.
No. Well, you still need to train harder because it looked like I just smacked you. You know what I mean? You got to be slippery.
That's right.
You got to
That's
be smart.
right.
You got to keep working. You can't give up on yourself. And if you want to start martial arts, the best time was yesterday. Now get your ass in gear and do it today.
That's right. Michael, if there was one thing that you could give every martial arts student, whether it be a technique or philosophy or concept, what would that one thing be?
I have to give you two. The first one is don't train hard. Don't be afraid to train hard enough to find out how really good you can be. That's what they have in the Chargers locker room. Don't be afraid to train hard enough to find out how really good you can be. And look into your heart of hearts and know, did you give it your all? Did you rob yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you got more? Do you got more sweat equity to spend? Do you got more that you can do for yourself? Can you challenge yourself just a little bit more? Just a little bit every day. Another penny in the penny jar. Another push-up. Another 50 punches on the Makiwara board. Another being slippery. Just keep moving. Practice moving. Move. And encourage others, because that way when you do that, you'll see where you were and how much you've grown. But the best way to go is to get started today. The longer you wait, the more regret you have. That's the worst thing you can carry through your life is regret, especially when you're the only one who could have changed it. Nobody else can cause you to regret, only you. So change it now. Stop regretting. Start producing happiness.
That's right. That's right. I don't know if you did it intentionally or not, but you paraphrased Ed Parker, because Ed Parker used to always say the two best times to start martial arts are when you're 10 years old or right now.
Well, Ed Parker was really good. There's a lot of martial arts, like I told you. For every known, there's 12 unknowns. And a lot of people don't right now. Another people right now, and maybe a good interview too would be for you with Sam Kawoha. Sam Kawoha is freaking amazing. He's Thunderbolt's direct student. See William S. Chow's direct student. Wow. Yes. Sam Kawoha was a direct student from William S. Chow.
Well, I don't know him, but...
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's in Arizona. Look him up.
The gentleman that you speak of.
Yeah. William S. Chow is called Thunderbolt.
We'll do that.
And he's the one that taught Cjo Emperado, Ed Parker, Sam Kawoha, and who's the Tracy Karate, Master Tracy. He taught all of those people, William S. Chow. And William S. Chow was also there with Matosa. So the Matosa and William S. Chow were right there together in Hawaii teaching. And that's where Sam Kawoha came from. And he's amazing. And his daughter's amazing too. So there's one you can put down for somebody you might want to talk to. He went to Jay Leno and broke like 1,000 pounds of ice with his head, and he ended up having a stroke. I warned him. I said, "Don't break with the freaking marshmallow. You're gonna ruin that melon. Don't do it." But he did it anyway. But he's really got a lot of stuff that is gonna die, and that's what I tell students. And that's if you want to pass something on, you pass on to the experienced students. You tell them, you know what? You freaking slackers worked hard to get to 2nd and 3rd degree black belt, but you betrayed your teacher who was dying to teach you 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th degree stuff because you didn't show up, because you quit on him, and you left him in the dojo with a bunch of white belts, so he had to keep training on the same stuff that you forgot. That you don't want to come in and train and get the advanced material. Do you want the 800 pressure points? Do you want all the advanced sword techniques? Do you want that stuff? You pretend like you do when you were 2nd degree, and then you vanished. My call would be to the advanced students. Oh, you're 4th degree? You got a bunch to learn. Your fifth degree, you might as well just tear up your friggin' old degree because you really want the seventh degree.
Mm-hmm.
Get your ass back in the dojo and
Right.
make your teacher proud. Make it. He's the one that started with you. He's the one that's still got the fire burning for you to
Mm-hmm.
come back in. And don't you dare betray him. Get your ass back in the dojo. Fan the fire. Make your teacher amazing because he can't wait to relive all those old things that he spent the time to stay there with his teacher to learn. That you left him there. Don't leave him there.
Mm-hmm.
Just envision a friggin' kid that was waiting for his parents to pick him up at school and he was getting rained on. And they showed up, but they showed up late. Show up early. Make your teacher proud.
Right.
Make your teacher say, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm glad you're here. I get to finally do what I thought I could never do with a student again. Teach the dim mak. Teach the advanced Tai Chi stances and postures.
Mm-hmm.
Teach the stances and postures for the seasons to
Mm-hmm.
help you gain strength. You know what? I get fired up, but I should probably stop. Thanks for this opportunity. I'll always be here. Don't stop training. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop trying to get to the next step up. Every step is a different part, and it gives you a
Absolutely.
different view. If you're not the lead dog, the view never changes. That's an old saying for people
Absolutely.
on job site. But climb another stair.
Mm-hmm.
Take another class. Look online.
Absolutely.
Find a technique from
Absolutely.
Larry Tatum. That guy's friggin' crazy good. Get on there. Look at Moses Powell on
Mm-hmm.
jiu-jitsu and judo. Get on there and look at all these. Danny and Santo. Why would you ever miss a class with Danny and Santo? Get out there and train, guys. And
Mm-hmm.
remember, you don't need to name drop when you train hard. You can say, I train hard.
Right. Right.
Have a great day, sir. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for those that watched what there was to watch. You know, we did have a bit of an odd cast this week. I hope you all got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are a martial artist and you would like to be a part of this podcast, if you know somebody that is a martial artist that would like to be a part of this podcast, if you see one of my Facebook posts or anything that I'm sharing and would like to have Discord about that, reach out to me. keepkickingpod@gmail.com or find me on Facebook, on Instagram. I am very reachable. I love you all. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope we are being safe and cautious as we go into the holiday season. Tensions are rising as people work more. Tensions are rising as people struggle to find the money that they need for the gifts that they think they should give. Everyone is worth more than we are able to give always. I want you all to stay safe. Remember, we will never be able to give back to martial arts the same amount that martial arts has given to us. Ever. But we could try. And the ever-wanting soul sees only what it wants. Keep kicking.